they don't believe. Those supporting BBI, okay. Those who oppose it, it's okay. That's democracy. Let them decide without dictations. Of course, addressing that particular issue. Mark, before we took the break, I came to you on this particular issue. Frustrated president, how do you move forward? You say now he's realized what he should have been doing a long time ago.
Yes. And one of the things that we need to understand about this crop of politicians, they're very funny. Before BBI report was released, what was the biggest complaint? The biggest complaint was that the people didn't participate. Now the complaint is the people should not participate, parliamentarians should participate. But let's measure the quality of our parliamentarians. We have toilet parliamentarians who receive money in envelopes in toilets by their own admission, not ours. They admitted to it themselves. They have reports, which the quality of that report I could write when I was in class 7, half asleep. Right? Mm-hmm. Number 3, we have people such as Oscar Sudi who are in parliament, who should translate this document for Kenyans, surely.
So
surely.
You don't have faith in that particular house right now?
Who does?
As constituted?
Let me ask every Kenyan. When it came to the 16% VAT, how many of us trusted Kenyans? Mm-hmm. Kimwarer and Aror happened, trusted MPs rather. Kimwarer and Aror happened under their watch. Unbalanced budgets under their watch. Debt under their watch. Come on. We need to get to the point where we need to care about us. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. And let me tell you why it is wise to move this thing away from parliament. Because parliament has 2 kinds of morality. Money and no money. When they are paid a certain way, they sing a certain tune. Mm-hmm. Look at the way they think about this world, like 2022 is everything. If you look at how parliamentarians are thinking, you will realize that for them, BBI is either I am making it in 2022 or not. That's all they're calculating. None of them is thinking and saying, you know what, this document, if I fixed it here, it will make my country better. But what I find even more ridiculous is most of the MPs I've heard speaking say there is nothing wrong with the document because they can't find anything. Right. The only thing and the only reason they are opposing it is because their cash cow could dry up in 2022. It's not about the morality of who's a better president, what's a better document for this country, not at all. It is about where they are paid from and who calls their tune. And if who calls their tune does not have access to the purse strings of this country, they are afraid they'll be broke. By the way, that's it. It's about the survival of their pockets. And most of them, by the way, are not even planning to survive post-2022. Mm-hmm. They know they'll be voted out. That's why when the president tells them, focus on development, they're not interested in it. For them, there are 5 years of kukula. That's all they want. And they want a guarantee that somehow they'll be made CSS, PSS, ambassadors after they fail in 2022. That's why if you look at their CDF reports, they're nonsensical. That's why they're not concerned about the fight against corruption. They don't care. They're the ones who say, oh my goodness, the fight against corruption is targeting us. It is only us because we are the only ones who are caught. My friend, if your hand is in the cookie jar, do you want to say, but before my hand was in this cookie jar, Jacob Midio was there? No, you are caught alone. Please bear the consequences alone. But their concern is for 2022. And their pockets. Let me just tell Kenyans the truth.
Let me jump to Gabriel on this particular one, even as you look at the utterances made by Mark, but also front page of the PD and front page of the Star, just alluding to the same thing, enough is enough. Furious Uhuru tells Ruto allies. The Star, Ruto MPs force Uhuru team to cancel BBI meet. I think this is the 4th day this week that Ruto has been on the front page of the Star with regard to the BBI. That aside, let's look at it from the point of view that even as we have this tough-talking president, right. Those he's talking tough to, do you feel that they're cowarding, that they may change their position, that they may change tact and lie low because of our president?
Jeff, let me tell you, I think I agree with where the president is coming from, because on this one, the president has been very consistent, very, very consistent. He started out by saying, Kenyans, kindly read this document. Do not allow this document to be hijacked by politicians. That's exactly what the politicians have done. Mm-hmm. And when you look at the meetings, we are having meetings. I don't know, politicians are calling for this meeting. They want us to meet. In fact, I believe 90% at this point, 90% of Kenyans, and this is just my opinion, have not read the document. So
they're relying on what the politicians are saying.
Exactly. And I believe sometimes I feel that's when it comes politically, that's our Achilles heel. we listen so much on our politicians who are actually have already swayed in themselves that this is the direction we want to take the people. And so herein comes the president's frustration. I can understand it.
Right.
You know, because already he's telling you, before the report came out, and it's not only on the Ruto side, everybody else was saying, no, you have to agree with what is in the BBI. If you not the BBI, Sijui Mara Sudami, Sijui I don't know what. And the president was in the middle. He was saying, no, no, no. First of all, read the report, and then there's the direction you will take. You will decide how it will go. So already the politicians have convoluted this platform already. When you sit down with the BBI, I actually found it to have amazing, amazing recommendations. And my problem is that we are still listening to politicians. And like Mark is saying, that parliament right now, I don't even believe there's anything I can take home. I was just looking the other day how they've been jolting Mwende Mwinzi. They can't even make up their mind. The court has decided this is the way to go. They are still, you know, pussyfooting around the same report. Whether, you know, they are bringing her citizenship into question, this court has, you know, pronounced, you know, itself to that very function, you know, that she cannot, just cut loose her citizenship. So, I mean, Parliament is just joking around. And for us to give them this report, I think this is a very delicate report at this point. Jeff, when you look at some of the things that BBI is subscribing, and I would really want you to see the document. I was telling one of your, people here that they need to sit down with this report by themselves, have a cup of coffee and read that report, even if you're going to read the summarized version, but just read it. Some of the recommendations because first of all, it gives us a bird's eye view of the fact that everybody wants change. Where we are right now, the rhythm of our politics after every 5 years needs some element of arrest, all right? It talks about Mark, I don't know whether you've seen the rights of a patient. I don't know whether you've seen it on the BBI. It's amazing. The rights of a patient. It talks, you see the way hospitals used to play around with you. It's mchango, I don't know what, you're looking for school fees, Mara, you're asked you how much money in the hospital. Now the patient is well taken care of. Look at what it's recommending on devolution. Which person will not support that? All right? But instead of us looking at the report now, and I'm not saying that you must agree with everything in BBI, but at the very least we'll have a conversation. What don't you agree on? How can we make it better? Right. Instead of us having that conversation right now, I already feel as if we are in campaign mode right now. Because this one is taking this group, Twende Msafara. This one is taking this, Twende Msafara. And the people we are listening to, oh my goodness, at this point, the best place they can lead you, in fact, not even the best place. Some of them cannot even lead you to the toilet. Wow.
Jakayo, let me come to you on this because as you look at the BBI report as in its current content right now, some people are saying when you look at what is in it, and you look at the process that it took, the 18 months that it took to write, the fact that the handshake had to happen for this to go on, foreign pressure or not from international bodies for them to have that handshake done, some people are saying that this probably was not the report that should have come out. It was changed along the way, and that's why probably if you have this committee of experts, now the real BBI report might find its way in there. What's your take on that?
Well, I said 2 weeks ago, I said on this panel that I know the report was changed. I knew it delayed because it was being changed. But be that as it may, it opens a window for what Mark said, people participation. And I disagree with the tweet you read, that don't force. I don't think this process has been forced on anybody. Because I think, when it is good, call it good. When it's bad, call it bad. It clears your heart.
Right.
The principles behind BBI have consistently told Kenyans, Goja usome. What they need to go further and put some money in the process of imasomo, because where most people don't have the time to read that document. I can also promise you that of the nearly 500 MPs, I can tell you not less than 20 have read that document. I can tell you for a fact. I've been an MP. How many? If you can't read a bill that goes on the floor, where do you get the? You see, Kenya cannot afford to miss a chance to fix the 20% that Raila Kibaki told us in peacetime. You know, most constitutions are very violent documents. The people, there's always, you are trying to prevent war.
Right.
But ours, we are lucky. You know, we shed, we are shedding no blood. We have been waiting for a peaceful document.
Right.
So don't create war. What is happening? And you know, if you want to know, the MPs have not read the document. The speaker, who now I must thank, Muturi, told them this is like a newspaper on the street. There must be a path for it to come to parliament. And what is to go to parliament? The whole thing people have waited for 18 months must come from the people. We will give our input. We will discuss. Now, when you think about it, the people who celebrated, in fact, I was somewhere on Thika Road when the TV stations started going, chambuaring the document. And a friend called me and said, why, this is a good one. And you know, he's a staunch Ruto supporter. So I said, I haven't looked, but let me get home and see. Now, the first thing that came to my mind is that the celebration that you saw with the Murkomen, with the Chungwa, with all the tweets that came in that night to the stations were two things: that there will be no referendum, and then the president shall appoint a prime minister. It's not a political construction. Shall appoint a prime minister. Somebody can even appoint his wife. So there are things even I oppose in the document. But what was happy for them was that the referendum, which they have been opposing for months, every week, every day, every night, seemed to have been avoided. So bring it to parliament, we mutilate it, read Kilifi draft, which nearly sent this country to its abyss. People were not involved. It was taken to Kilifi. It was called Wako draft. So, but let me say something which my colleagues here can contribute. I said here, and I will tell you again. If you make two fatal mistakes, you are a fool to think you'll get an opportunity to fix them. People make mistakes, but if you make them fatal, going head to head with Raila and Kibra was fatal for William Samoei. Now, trying to suggest that this thing cannot go Uhuru Raila way that is double tragedy. He may never live to see the other side of it politically.
Okay. Quite, as he looks into his crystal ball and what that might portend for Deputy President Ruto, let me come to you in the sense that some people are saying that the one fear they have with this, as we're saying, going to the people, is the divisive nature of how things get when it comes to that particular point. With the different politicians campaigning for this, and then from there we get lost as to even the content of the document and becomes a whole political circus. How do we safeguard that if indeed it goes in that direction?
But your answer is in your question. That Kenyans only divided by politicians. Let's be honest.
But they're the ones who will be there.
No, but that's the problem. No, Kenyans.
We can't wish them away, unfortunately.
If you go to any kiosk right now where people are taking mandazis and tea, you think they're sitting there and saying, hey, you are a Kikuyu, Mamkamba, let's not talk. That's not what Kenyans do. Kenyans are divided by politicians. Their opinions on the BBI report. You tell me, out of all the tweets coming out, how many Kenyans oppose that the Minister of Health should go to Kenyatta National Hospital. You tell me how many Kenyans oppose. You tell me how many Kenyans are looking at that statement and going, oh wait, this is a very Mkamba statement, or this is a very Mkisi statement. We don't do that generally. When Kenyans are complaining about the debt, do we reason about it as Kikuyus and Kambas and Luyas and Kisis? We don't. That thing only happens when we allow people who we beat in exams to give us opinions because they sit in parliament. That's the only problem. Can I tell you what the problem is in this country? Problem in this country is this, that if you look at every demonstration in this country, all the professors, PhDs, doctors, and economists and all of those people are standing outside the parliament telling people who do not understand these things, can't even read a bill according to Midiwo here, and we are trusting them to make the right choice. That's been the problem in this country. What needs to happen is the people need to take back their power. That's what needs to happen. And we need to debate that prime minister position on merit and demerit. Don't debate it thinking that, oh my goodness, this is going to be Raila's position forever. Do you think Raila is ever going to accept to be appointed by a president to be a prime minister? Does that make sense to you? But that's what people think. People think that we create positions for people. That's the biggest mistake you can do, because if you create that position, guess what? It will be there after you die. All right? That's number one. Number two, there's this lazy thinking. And let me tell you how lazy our politicians can be. They say that, oh my goodness, if we go down this road, we'll have a referendum. My question is, do you realize that between 2002 and 2010, we had 2 elections, 1 PEV, and 2 referendums? This country. No politician, the same ones were politicians then. None of them were saying, oh my goodness, it is just 2005. Elections are in 2007. Let's not have a referendum. When we were doing banana and orange, where was the budget then? Then 2 years after 2007, we had another referendum. An expensive exercise. Let me tell you something. There is no way when it comes to after Christmas and your kids are supposed to go to school, none of us say, oh my goodness, Christmas was just 5 days ago. School fees is so expensive, don't go to school. This country needs changes. The truth is, it does need changes. And I agree with Jacob Midiwo when he says one of the most important changes we must do is to the Constitution of Parliament. Because, come on, for how long should we have party after party in parliament? For how long should we have prison prefects as governors? For how long? No, we must ask these questions. We must ask these questions. My friend, you land at JKIA, you come into Lake Nairobi. Seriously. How does that make sense? For how long?
And as you talk about that and talk about, delivery in terms of government, both levels of government, national and county, when you look at these particular headlines, because they are really loaded, because if Uhuru is telling Ruto allies and Ruto MPs are forcing Uhuru to cancel BBI meets, this means there's a big rift between Uhuru and Ruto, whether they say it publicly or not. What does that mean for delivery in their term as government?
First of all, when you look at the two... First of all, this headline, I don't know whether, and we don't know for sure whether the president was talking directly to Ruto or Raila.
According to what we are seeing.
No, we don't know whether he was talking to Ruto or Raila. His concern was, you people were leading us before the BBI. And he actually mentioned, very well. In fact, I can do it. It's actually, even before we released the report, they were all over telling us about its content. Now it has been released and they are taking us, or they have taken us, along a new direction. That would be my concern. That would be my concern. Even before the report came, you are all over, gallivanting. And everybody was doing. So here you have the president asking, when will this stop? Remember, out of everybody jolting and running around, he's the only person with a legacy to leave behind. So this is my playground. Who do I need to invite in? And that's why I'm telling you, I can understand why the president is angry. Because he's looking at his development agenda, he's like, my goodness, now these politicians, again, they've taken us to another route. Instead of even allowing a peaceful atmosphere for us to debate on the BBI, they've started taking us east, they've started taking us west. And before you say cut and a half, guess what? My concern, and I'm telling you, I'm sharing it with the president, it will happen as he is imagining. You know what will happen? We'll be already in a campaign mode. in the next coming few months. Already you can see where the parliamentarians are. And I agree with Mark. Half of them, they just want to make a dime. Where is the money coming in? Where are we going to, who will bankroll? You know?
So what does this mean for the president's legacy in terms of this, also the big four that he should deliver?
I can tell you, if it continues going the way it is going, I agree, you know, we are going to, actually, it's going to receive some serious deficiency. It is going to receive that. Because, I mean, Mark has already told us again about, you know, these guys are the ones who are doing our budget. You know, they are the ones who pass our budget. When will they do it? When they are gallivanting half across the country? I mean, when will they have time to look at the issues that matter? When will they have the time to actually talk about the flooding? You know, when will they have the time to talk about the new CBC, how it will be, you know? When will they have the time to even look at the bills that are supposed to be presented? You know, when we talk about food security, when will they have the time to even look at our development? When we talk about roads and SGR, you saw yesterday the committee that was supposed to look at how the SGR is going to be profitable. They lost. Now you don't have to, you know, the Wamatangi-led commission. Now you don't have to use the SGR on goods. Yet they had started that trajectory very well. So I'm wondering, when will it ever pay itself?
Right.
You know, we've been pushed back a little bit. And it's because everybody is politicking. Instead of us sitting down, like the president envisioned, sitting down, understanding the document, deliberating upon it, having a conversation upon it, and saying, you know what, Mark, myself, and Senior Jacoyo here, this is how we want to be governed. And I agree. You know, Jeff, I take you back to what I said. We do not have to entirely agree with the report. But the fact that you do not agree with it and the fact that you agree with some of the aspects in the report is healthy enough for us to start a conversation and build a consensus as we move along. The fact that you can take already these crooks, Mark, they've already taken aside. And to me, that's a detriment of the report.
Right.
Even before you listen to me, you've already closed the door on me. All right? And that's not the way to go. So when the president is angered by half of the things that these people are doing, it just tells you he's concerned about his legacy. And you know, and we, let me tell you, Jeff, we had started off very well. We had started off with things like the Big Four agenda. We had started off with housing. We had started off with, you know, with our healthcare. We had started off, you know, very well with talking about food security. Today, with all these torrential rains, we would be pushing bills and policies on how to harvest this water. The whole country should be having a conversation. How do we grow our food? And you know, when we were, you know, when we went on a short break, we were talking about the economies of our neighbors. They are starting to build up. They are starting to talk and understand, why have we all been fighting one another? These neighbors that we are talking about are starting to build their economies. We are still now, actually, we've taken their place. We are not the ones having crazy infightings within us. So before you say cut and a half, our economy is going to suffer. And then I told you about the rhythm. Every 5 years, for 3 years, is the only time we can trade. And we do not know what will happen. So the divisive elections that we're talking about, which is captured very well in the BBI. So we have so many things to talk about. We have so many things to actually ponder and wonder, what will 2022 look like? What will 2027 look like? What will 2080 look like when Mark and myself are not here? When Mark and all of us are not here? How will our country look like? Remember what Obama told us. Every time we sit down, we must always remember that this country, we inherited it from our children, not from our forebearers. The fact that we should have that mindset should actually make us stop doing all this monkey business and start taking Mwananchi seriously.
Okay, Mark, you have a quick addition on this?
A quick one. I don't know why people keep saying Uhuru's legacy. Let's be very clear. The legacy is also for William Ruto. I don't know why we are acting like the guy does not exist, right? He's part of this game.
True.
I don't know why we keep, you know, when you look at MPs bashing Uhuru Kenyatta and thinking that somehow they're shielding him, shielding Ruto from the legacy, trust me, whether they cooperate or fight, it is their legacy.
Correct.
The stadiums that have not been delivered, it is them. I don't know why we keep separating them. But on top of that, let's also remember, Raila Odinga is in that mix. Because where was he? Whether he made noise or kept quiet, when we're being pillaged or we're being built up.
Yeah.
Trust me, this legacy is not a one-person deal. This legacy is also about Parliament. Where was Parliament? Where was Senate? I don't know why we keep thinking that Uhuru is over there doing his own thing and then the rest of Kenyans can sit there and say it is his legacy. Trust me, this country is not going to be built by one man. Oh yeah, it's a corporate legacy. Okay. And by the way, if Uhuru fails and you vote for William Ruto, trust me, there's something seriously wrong with you.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I want us to talk about what happened in terms of the questioning yesterday of CS Chelugui concerning the Itare Dam. Also, the brief reprieve that Nairobi motorists are having as far as the parking rates are concerned. Can there be a better way to handle county affairs? And of course, with Nairobi being the case in point, we want your tweets as well to come in at K24 TV. Before we take the break, Kevin Karish says, good morning, I've got one question. Are leaders not understanding the BBI report? Because every leader is expressing a different way from the others and a different opinion. Is it the same document? Tafadhalini. That's what he asks. Rono Keep 18 says, I think the president is overreacting for nothing. He should channel such kind of anger to non-performing cabinet secretaries who have messed this country's economy. Agriculture, for instance, is in the ICU. Tea, milk, coffee, maize price is in a total mess. Let him start from there and deal with those particular people who are messing the economy. Rono Keep, we get you loud and clear on that. Keep them coming in at K24 TV. Take a short break. We are back on the other side. And we'll start from there, Rono Keep. One of his CSs was actually being grilled by the DCI yesterday over the Itare Dam. We'll talk about that after the break.